species of Sanibel and Captiva are known worldwide for their shelling. Now, whether this is your first trip or your 50th trip down here, you will still be absolutely amazed at the beautiful colors, the variety of shells that are to be found on our beaches. Now, what if during your explorations on the beach, you not only find a beautiful lightning whelk, but you come across something that looks like this? Do you know what it is? Would you know? Is it alive? What this is the egg case of a clear-nose skate. Now, you will also hear it called some different names. A devil's purse is one, a mermaid's purse is another, and there are lots of children's fables that deal with the gold coins that can be found in a mermaid's case. What you will actually find inside here is a developing embryo. This is to protect the skate as it floats out in the water. It is normally attached to seaweed, and sometimes during strong storms or heavy surf, it will break loose and wash to shore. It feels very soft. It's a leathery material called chitin, and it's actually very similar to human fingernails. When the baby skate is ready to hatch, one of the long sides will automatically split open, and allowing the baby skate to swim away free. These have no smell. You don't need to do anything to them to add them to your collection. Just double check and make sure that one of the sides is split open so that you don't have a problem when you get home. Something else that's very unusual that you may find is this. It's called an operculum. It is actually the trap door of our mollusks that are down here. When the snail that lives inside, this is his foot, when the snail that lives inside becomes frightened or needs to hide, he will pull himself back into the shell, and this seals perfectly to the opening of the shell, keeping him hidden and safe from predators. Something else that you may see, particularly in the spring and at low tide out on some of our sandbars, is called a sand collar, or a sea collar is another name for it. What that is actually an egg casing for the moon snails that are here on the islands. This is a large one. They come in much smaller sizes. Some of them have very brilliant blue centers. It gives them the name of Paul Newman eyes. The sand collar is formed by a gelatinous substance that the female snail secretes, and she mixes that with sand. It actually forms a hollow circle that sits on the sandbar and is amazingly resilient to the tide changes. And it will break, and don't try and add them to your collection. Once they dry out, they will crumble just like a regular sand would. Something else that you may see on the beach during the spring, particularly, is something that a lot of people kind of freak out about. They think that they found a snake skeleton or some kind of a vertebrae. What that is a lightning whelk egg case. They drift around out into the sea, and eventually allowing the babies to hatch out of each one of those individual pockets. If you find one and hold it up to the light, many times you can see the miniature lightning whelks in there still moving around. If you find one up on the beach and there's still water inside each one of those individual pockets, leave it be. If, however, it's dried out or you hold it up and there's nothing in those pockets, you can add that to your collection. This is the test or the skeleton of a sea urchin. When the creature is alive, there are long, semi-sharp spikes that stick out all over from each of these individual holes. On the bottom, where this empty hole is now, would be the creature's mouth. He uses those spikes not only to move around and find food, but once he finds food, he uses those spikes to draw it all toward his mouth, where the bony structure actually crushes and grinds everything. If you find live sea urchins, look around very closely, and just under the surface of the sand, you will probably also find sand dollars. They work cooperatively together and live in the same environment. Something fun that you may find if you're a local fisherman, or occasionally they kind of get stranded in the troughs between the shore and some of the sandbars that are right outside, is little pufferfish. When they are alive, they look just like any other little small fish. They're large, minnow-sized, but this is their defense. They are very sharp, very spiny, and they have special bladder inside that allows them to use the gases found in the waters to puff themselves up. There's no fish around, I know, that would want to chomp down on one of these. Last thing I was going to show you, this is called a red mangrove propagule. In the fall, it's very common to see them floating around in the waters. Why the fancy name? Propagule is used because basically this is not the entire seed. This is just a way for the seed to get to where to land. The seed is normally up here at the top, and it will hang on its parent tree for a number of months until it is ready, until the conditions are right, and then it will drop down into the water and float along. When you're out on the beach, remember that it's easy to be caught up in the beauty of the beaches, the shells, the sea life, watching the dolphins. Before you know it, you're going to end up miles from where you started out, and getting back is sometimes hard. Be prepared. Be sure that you have water with you at all times. I can't stress that enough. Soda and alcohol are going to do nothing but dehydrate you and make your condition worse. Buy sunscreen, people. Use it, especially on young children. The sand and the water all reflect the sun. You could end up with a bad burn even on a very cloudy day. One last word to moms and dads. Your little ones will be affected much sooner than you will be. Have shade for them. Make sure that they're drinking plenty of water. A hat, if you can keep it on them, is an excellent idea. And get a snazzy pair of sunglasses. Let the kids choose. Protect those little eyes, and mom and dad are happy.